I'm not able to dedicate time to my own website some weeks or even months. I know it's in good hands.
I've known Luke and Ant for years now, and I know they're good boys.
You can always get in contact with anybody there. It just gives us confidence. We started with very little knowledge of the industry, and again, they've worked with us over the time.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Business as Unusual show. I hope everybody is doing okay. It is Friday, it is beer o'clock, so stay tuned. We have a fantastic interview today. We've got Oliver Trailor from Runway Training. We're going to understand a little bit more about what's going on in the education sector, and also how the virus will impact future training, future skills. So it's going to be some really interesting bits that we're going to be talking to Ollie about in just a second. So this is a week that has seen a study find prison inmates having unlimited access to toast and jam see a reduction in violence. Interesting. We have also seen Liverpool. I know, I don't want to say this, but Liverpool have won the Premier League. I think this is the second time I've mentioned this. I think my guys all of our brand and marketing team support Liverpool just want to talk about this. So anyway, Liverpool have been crowned Premier League champions. Yay. Elon Musk has become the 5th richest man in the world, and face masks have become an essential fashion in England. And over in the States, Trump has banned TikTok from all government devices. Ouch. And it's been a week of highs and lows. It's finally beer o'clock, so let's get down to business as unusual. Hi guys, and welcome to the Business as Unusual show. My name is Luke. I'm the CEO of Sleeping Giant Media and Giant Campus. So if you're new to the channel, either on Facebook, LinkedIn or YouTube, please do check out our content if you are looking to make your first steps into digital marketing or looking to take your marketing to the next level. We have got obviously chat running as well, so please do say hi in chat. Hi to Ian, thank you for tuning in. And Alex, I'm sorry that I called you a Liverpool fan. I forgot that you were in fact the mighty Spurs supporter. So yeah, not all bad, although I do wish the season would just end for Spurs. But anyway, quickly, let's introduce Ollie. How are we doing, Ollie? How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks.
Good.
Good to be with you on a Friday.
Thank you very much for joining us. Could you just give everybody a bit of an introduction to yourself and also the business as well?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the managing director of Runway Training. We're a training provider based in Kent, but operating nationally. Our main focuses are on adult literacy and numeracy and leadership and management training. And then also on a more local level across Kent, we support young people 16 to 24 into employment and do a lot of training with SMEs. Awesome. That's us.
Brilliant. And how, yes, Anthony, yes, thank you. My business, but yes, it is a new haircut. I braved leaving the house to get a new haircut, and they did it well. I'm not about the hair job. I don't know what you think, but they were very good. They were very safe as well, and in the kind of like masks front as well. For all of those of you who are yet to venture outside, it's pretty well kind of taken care of. Sorry, taking me completely off track there. Ollie, how's things been in terms of sort of the impact of the virus in your sector? What are the things that are challenging? What are the sort of the positives that are coming out of it so far?
Well, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride. I think initially our biggest challenge was, as part of lockdown, just not being able to get out and train people, not being able to get people in groups, gather face to face. So naturally turned to growing our online offering, and that I'm pleased to say, with a few bumps in the road, has been going really, really well. Had good levels of engagement and had a fantastic response from employers and learners. So learned a lot through doing it, but we'll see what the future looks like, because we're not going to be getting back into groups that quickly, I don't think.
Absolutely. What's how's it kind of panned out in terms of, obviously, with people going on furlough as well? There's obviously new skills that are required. What sort of, are you doing much with the people that are on furlough, and how's that kind of panning out in terms of people looking to upskill or change their skill sets?
Yeah, so since the start of lockdown, we've had about 300 people start distance learning courses with us, and then a whole range of topics. I think that there was a real desire there for people to say, right, well, I've got this time, I'm on furlough, I can't really leave the house, I'd like to learn a new skill. And that's been a lot to do, I think, really, with them wanting to make use of that time and upskill themselves, so that they can then put themselves in a stronger position when they're either coming back off furlough or looking for work. And we've benefited from that, I think. One
of the things I was sort of wondering about is how. So we obviously we are involved with kind of training as well, but how do you plan or train people based on an unknown future? In the sense of, how do we try to give people the skill sets that they need, ready for a world that we don't really understand?
Well, I think in everything we do, we're trying to focus on the core skills that they need. So target setting, making sure they're looking after their own personal development, looking at their career goals and aspirations and where they want to be. Certain courses might enable our learners to specialise, but equally they might want to look at, could they be upskilling in leadership and management? Potentially they're not in a role now, but regardless of what industry or job they go back into, they'll need those skills and they'll be really useful. And just trying to get an understanding from them about where they want to go and how best we can support them, I guess.
Absolutely. And then the next thing is how on earth does an education system keep up with everything that's just happened? Because obviously we talk about digital trends and how things have kind of evolved or sped up. So there are existing trends that we're seeing emerging that suddenly over the last 3 months have kind of jumped 3 or 4 years in that space of time. How on earth does the education system kind of keep up with that with that challenge?
Well, I think there's elements of kind of adapt or die, and we've had to put measures in place ourselves. We look at our work with the NHS, where it simply wasn't possible for us to get out and deliver face to face. We started running a combination of live and recorded webinars, meaning that learners could access on demand when they can. I think if you look at the schools, they've had to take a lot of provision again online, see how they can best plan it. And for us, we started then producing video content, so learners could access it on their phone, they could access it on the go, and then couple those with live Zoom chats, so they would have that collaborative experience of sharing their ideas with other learners.
And it's gone. Has it been kind of generally received?
It's been really well received, and as I say, a few bumps in the road. I think when we first started webinars, we had a few technical hitches, but a lot of our employers and learners were just grateful that we had something for them. So we had phenomenal feedback, and have just been trying to adapt the offer and improve it as we've gone along. We've seen engagement hugely pick up. And people have changed their behaviours. They've moved away from the idea that you would have to sit in a classroom to learn a certain course. Yes, there's always been, or for a long time, we've had online learning, but some of the ways we've been able to bring people together has been fantastic.
Awesome, yeah. We are going to quickly cut to a brain training quiz all about training. So this is going to test your knowledge, and it relates to training as well. So you can see what we've done there. Happy Friday, Minu, as well. Hi in the chat. Any questions for Ollie? Do chuck them in. Right, we're going to get this going. Related to Rocky, the perfect training video. The Philadelphia Museum of Art is home to the fondly named Rocky Steps. How many steps are there? It's really obvious, this one, Ollie. You should totally know the answer to this one. And by that, I mean just guess.
I'm going to go with 112.
112. That's a lot of steps. It's 72, I'm afraid. 72, right. Okay, on to the next one. Speaking of trainers, which movie featured these sexy Nike mags? This is testing your kind of classic film trivia knowledge as well.
Is that Back to the Future?
It is, and I believe it's Back to the Future number 2. Neil in the chat with 72. Molly in the chat with 72 as well. Goodness me, you guys are on it. Good work, 72. Have you been there? Have you counted them? I don't know why people know this. Are you just Googling it? I wouldn't put it past them. I know Molly's hugely competitive. How long did it take Luke to train with Yoda on Dagobah? What do we think, people? Answers in the chat.
Gonna go with 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It didn't feel like long, did it?
No.
It was 6 months.
6 months.
Was it indeed? I did not know that. Okay, fair enough. Ian correct with Back to the Future, and Neil correct with Back to the Future in the chat. Good. Just the chat is slightly delayed for me. Name 3 famous trains. See what the guys have done there with trains and training. That's a real shoehorning into the quiz to try and make it relate to training. What do we think?
3 famous trains. We've got Flying Scotsman.
Yeah.
Orient Express.
Like it.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Thomas the Tank Engine. Nice. I've just seen someone mention that in the chat. Let's have a look. I think they're all. Yeah. They're all in there. Thomas the Tank Engine or any of his friends. Well, I think you've done a fantastic job there. You clearly know your trains and training related content. So it was a bit of a shoehorn, that one. But thank you, Alex, producer Alex, for putting that together. And thank you for playing along in chat. There's some people there. Ian with Hogwarts Express, Rocket and Flying Scotsman. He's all over it. It's great train knowledge there. So we talked a little bit about the sort of impacts in the kind of the training sector. What do you think will sort of start happening as we go forward into the future? Like, what are the sort of the changes that you've seen that you think will kind of carry forward?
I think it's going to go far more to on demand, as we've seen. You know, it was starting to happen already, but as I say, where before we used to do a lot of face-to-face gathering people together, by pushing out the content that we have, producing the videos, having live and recorded webinars, it's just giving access 24/7 to learners, and I think we'll see more and more of that come in. I think the face-to-face stuff is still very important, but the whole time it's not possible. People still want to learn, and I think what we see is a bit of a hybrid blended approach when we come back, and certainly for us it's a model we're looking at. Could we roll that out nationally as well?
Yeah. And I guess that kind of, you know, that lack of geography is potentially really, you know, a massive opportunity as well.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely for us. I mean, it started from a place of just before lockdown, we had 25 people gathering for a leadership and management course at the Amex Stadium in Brighton. They completed day 1, completed day 2. Boris said, right, we're going into lockdown. And we thought, well, how can we get 25 people together in a group? It's not going to happen. Be like trying to staple jelly to the wall. We need to come up with a new way of doing things. So like I say, by producing those videos and then having Zoom calls, that means we could cater for those individuals who are scattered out across Sussex, but we can go right across the country using that delivery model and increase our reach. So for us, it has brought about a great deal of innovation, and certainly will open more doors.
Yeah, and how have your team sort of been adapting to all those changes?
Well, it's been challenging for them because the majority of us were kind of housed in office space. Couple of offices in Tunbridge, one in Croydon, one in Sittingbourne. So then we had staff kind of looting the office, taking screens and chairs and printers and scanners, whatever they could get their hands on.
I'm assuming they're going to bring them back at some point.
They started coming back, but we did have we had a conversation yesterday about why there's only half the chairs in the office, because some people who've started coming back have conveniently kept one at home.
Someone stole my chair.
So yeah, they start.
Someone stole my office
Sorry?
chair. Sean Staunton stole my office chair, and I was actually I zoomed in, or kind of had a Google Hangout, and I was like, "That's a nice chair, mate. Where did you get that from?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I took that from your office." I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" So I can relate to this kind of ransacking of the office. It was post-apocalyptic when I went back for the first time.
So we had all that going on. Everyone setting up their own home office. We hadn't really had much home working going on before. Everyone jumping on Teams calls, Zoom calls, trying to keep morale up, keep the communication going, separate chats with teams. So that was a real challenge. And in the early days, I was still going back into the office just to grab the post and scan it out myself. And a bit of an eerie feeling just being in an empty office that a few days before had been hustling and bustling. So we'll see what the future looks like for us. As I say, a few of us have gone back, but we've got quite a few people working from home and are quite content, quite happy doing that. And we'll see where it goes.
Absolutely. Just to say, guys, in chat, there's been a significant amount of train chat. I'm looking through this. We have got the Love Train, Gravy Train, Ivor the Engine, Disco Train. Is that a thing, Molly? I don't know. Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train, Gravy Train, Ghost Train. There was a lot of train chat. I've never seen so much train chat happening on LinkedIn, but it looks like Ian Pinchin clearly knows his trains. So thank you very much for all of that. And Sean, just because Lee is driving over my chair, it's still you that took my chair. We are unbelievably at the halfway mark, so let's cut to that. We're going to have the digital news roundup, so the top digital stories of the week, coming up in just a sec. It's the halfway mark. Hi guys, welcome to the Business As Unusual show. If you are just tuning in, we are interviewing Oliver Trailor. I always get those confused. It's the trailer training bit that I get confused. Oliver Trailor from Runway Training. I'm going to go back to him just in a second. If you're just joining and you're looking at the chat and wondering why we're talking about trains, I have no idea. And as you've seen from our post, Alex there saying we're clearly getting off track. That is a dad joke if ever I have heard one. Oliver, we're back. Wanted to get your view on the current situation from an entrepreneurial aspect. Obviously, you've done a lot of new startups. You're kind of getting something that you're really kind of passionate about. I just wanted to get your view on: is this a better time to start up a business, or is it more difficult time? What's your kind of view on the current situation and the kind of the potential similarities to that startup environment?
I think I can really relate to this time in terms of starting a business. Started in 2008. That wasn't exactly a fantastic time for the economy. And even at the moment, while we've been living these challenging times, there have been huge opportunities, not just in our industry, the training one, but I've seen lots of people start small businesses, start selling bracelets on Instagram. Know a guy who was a yacht broker who said, well, this isn't going to work for me. Started importing PPE. He's doing really well. One of our sites in Tunbridge, we had some guys get a shipping container full of hand sanitizer and they've started selling it. I think the world that we live in today, it's really easy to, once you've got an idea, set up, execute it, get it out there, start spreading good content, make everyone aware of your product or service. So I think now is a fantastic time. And what we've seen is that by having to adapt and change our ways of delivery, we're coming up with 3-4 different ideas each week. They're not all going to work, but we're trying to foster that creativity within the team and say, right, okay, how can we reach out and deliver to these people who we couldn't before? So yeah, I think it's a really good time, and I think it's for any young people in particular that have got ideas. Now's perhaps a good time for them to give it a go.
Absolutely, yeah. And moving on to the sort of the labour market, particularly for the younger people. The challenge coming up is going to be significant, isn't it? We've got obviously this almost like it feels like a kind of a cliff that's emerging where the government support's going to start reducing. Businesses are going to have to start making some pretty tough decisions in terms of, are they going to be dipping into their pockets to try to keep their team on board, or are they going to have to make redundancies? And recruitment for a while certainly is going to be, it's a really, really challenging space for that kind of young person looking for a job. What sort of support is out there from the government at the moment, and also any advice that you can offer to those young people looking for those jobs?
Well, there's quite an array of government support that we've seen come out. So we had the announcement recently about the Kickstart job scheme. So anyone who's 16 to 24 claiming universal credit, they can now get a job placement with an employer where the government will pay 25 hours per week. They'll cover the minimum wage. So I think that's going to be a big one. Hasn't launched yet. The devil will be in the detail, but fundamentally running the numbers, it's looking like a universal credit claimant would be seeing about £400 a month. If they go onto this scheme, they can be receiving £800. So certainly for young people, it's going to be, they'll be better off in work. And I think for employers, if they're having the wages covered, similar to the furlough scheme, it's going to be really encouraging for them. Apprenticeships, which we deliver across Kent, we've had loads and loads of inquiries since the recent announcement that the government are going to be adding extra incentives. So they're going to be giving employers an additional £2,000 if they take someone on 16 to 24, or £1,500 if they're 25 plus. Added to what's there already, that will mean for 16 to 18, they'll be getting £3,000. So again, young people should start to have a look around at apprenticeship opportunities, because I think we'll see these pop up. And finally, we've got traineeships as well. So that's unpaid work experience, but with employability and maths and English training attached to it. But again, the government are now saying to employers, if you can give young people some experience, 100 hours of high quality work experience, we'll give you £1,000 incentive, and there's no limit to the number there. So it is going to be tough for young people, but there are good schemes out there, good incentives for employers to take hold of. And I'd encourage young people to be looking for these, to be proactive, maybe to give the employers a prod and say, this is available to you. Just to keep applying, because things are opening up. Companies will need to take people back on. And it's going to be tough, but if they can also upskill themselves at the same time, that'll improve their employability prospects.
Absolutely. One of the things, actually, there was a comment just before the halfway point where there's a lot of paperwork often involved with with this sort of activity. We've done lots of things with apprenticeships and apprentices, and it's often kind of comes with a lot of admin. Is that the same now? Is the government's scheme set up? Is it going to be able to deal with the remote nature of everything that's going on because of some of the previous challenges that were around the red tape involved with this sort of stuff?
I think, in all honesty, it's going to be too early to tell with some of these schemes. The Kickstart job scheme, as I say, we haven't quite seen the detail there, but you'd hope the government will do everything they can to take the pain out of it for the employers. I think that with apprenticeships and with traineeships, they've been around quite a bit longer. The paperwork element has moved digital with the apprenticeship service. And there are more and more guides and training providers will help employers navigate that I think it's far easier now than going back 7-8 years. So I don't think that will be too much of a barrier. I think it's just raising the awareness with the employers at a time that for a lot of them, they've got to deal with COVID-19, social distancing. They've got to make sure their health and safety is on point. So it's just making sure they're aware they can also take advantage of these incentives on top of what we've seen from the government, which I think has been, it's been a huge package of support.
It has been, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And it's good, but as as we were sort of talking sort of pre-show, it's that kind of impending, as that declines, it's going to be an interesting few months ahead where businesses are going to have to start making some pretty tough decisions. Just to say hi to Sophie in the chat. Good to see you again. Businesses will always need good people, even in tough times. Absolutely. It's and I think unfortunately there's going to be some really good people that are on the job market for. But again, I guess there's opportunities in there. There's always opportunities in there to potentially, if you are a business that's expanding, to get those skilled people that are potentially looking for new jobs and having to kind of retrain them in that kind of space. Ollie, we're just going to go to this one. We're going to look at some of the quotes. I don't know if you've seen this before, but this is status quote, where I want to get your view. We've got some training related quotes, and this is LinkedIn gold right here. And it's essentially based around snog, marry, avoid. So which quote do you like? Which quote do you love, and which quote do you want to avoid? So let's have a quick look at what we've got. So the first quote: tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I learn. Benjamin Franklin. P.S. by the way, I think these are all pretty good quotes, but you're gonna have to pick one. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether they are 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. Henry Ford. And the greatest teacher, we've seen another Star Wars reference, the greatest teacher is failure is. I was about to try and correct his semantics there. That is Master Yoda. All very, very wise people right there. What do we think? Which one do you like? Which one do you love? Which one do you want to avoid?
Being in education training, I like them all, Luke. So
they're good, aren't they? I did look at those earlier, and I was like, you know what? I actually like all of those, and I had exactly the same when I flicked through them. But you got to pick them. Snog, marry, avoid. Which one?
It's gonna be really tough, this one. I think. And
chat, guys. Which one do you like?
Most identify with Yoda, I think.
Yes.
I think as an entrepreneur myself, made loads of mistakes, learned from them. Things haven't worked. Makes you stronger, makes you better for next time. So that's going to be the marry, I think.
Okay, nice. I like that.
That's the one I live by.
Yeah.
Between the other two,
yeah, you don't actually have to marry Yoda, but guys in the chat, yeah, that's but I get you. It's good playing along. Avoid Yoda, Molly. What? Madness. Okay, which one do you want to next, Ollie?
This is really tough. This is really tough between these two. I like them both.
This is difficult. You have to choose, mate. I'm sorry. This is just the rules of the game, and I'm a stickler for rules. I'm not really, but which one would you avoid?
Right, I'll go with avoid. I'll go the top one for avoid.
Okay.
Because I do believe in kinesthetic learning involving people, but it's not the only way to learn. So
see, look what you've done there. I love what you've done there. You've turned that quite. And I'd have just like randomly picked one. You've got some science behind the decision making process there, which is pretty epic. And so that leaves us with anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. So a lifetime of learning. You snog that one.
Yeah, it's not that one.
Good work, like that. And actually, what are your thoughts around? Is there any other quotes that kind of stand out for you, particularly in the sort of what you do that you kind of live by?
I'd go with the Henry Ford. It's better to have tried and failed than never try at all. I think you've got to try new things. Yeah. I think linking back to young people and what we were saying, I think we can give a bit of a shout out to the Kent Foundation.
Yeah, absolutely.
The charity that support 18 to 30s in Kent. I think you've got something coming up with them as well, Luke.
I have, yes. I'm doing a talk for those guys around restart up mentality. So trying to instill that kind of the thought process around it's okay to fail and kind of keep trying and that this is a great time, I think, to be a startup, just to kind of reinvent, to create something new. So yeah, absolutely great organisation.
So that's just it. If they're, young people might be looking for employment, but why not also go along, speak to the Kent Foundation, try your own thing, and you could be the next Luke Quilter. You never know.
I wouldn't say that, mate. Could be the next Ollie Trailor. That's the kind of the key to this. But yeah, I think there's some fantastic organisations. And on that, are there other organisations that you wanted to sort of shout out and sort of because they've been doing something particularly good that you've noticed during the pandemic?
Well, I think for us, like the NHS, but they've had quite a lot of coverage already. But we have a lot of learners with them where they couldn't do face-to-face. They jumped straight in the webinars. We even had learners at the Nightingale Hospital who weren't as busy as they thought they would be. But beyond that, I think we do support a lot of care organisations. So we've got Rapport, who work right across Kent, Young Epilepsy over in Surrey, and Ferndale in Folkestone. We've been supporting their learners. They in turn are doing a fantastic job keeping all their residents safe. So yeah, big shout out to them. And it's been a pleasure working with them during this time.
Awesome. Ollie, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for joining the show. Some really amazing kind of comments and insights into the sector that you're in. Guys in chat, thank you very much for getting involved. A really cheesy quote here from Sophie. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. Thoughts on that one, Ollie? What do you think?
I'll go with it, as it's a Friday.
As it's a Friday.
I agree.
What else have we got? There's a few every day's a school day in there. Questions around, is Yoda a man? These are the sorts of topics that we cover on the show. But Ollie, thank you very much for getting involved, and best of luck with the months ahead.
It's been a pleasure. Cheers.
So guys, that is it from us. If you enjoyed the show, please do subscribe to our channel. If you follow Sleeping Giant Media on LinkedIn, you'll get a notification as and when we go live next time. As I said, we'll be back here again on Wednesday at 4:30. We are going to be interviewing Georgina Wilson-Powell from Pebble Magazine. I hope you'd enjoyed the show. We're living in some strange and crazy times, but for all of us, it's just business as unusual.